what's going on, everybody? So, today's a new start for the channel.
Trendy gamer here, playing all the trendy games.
Let's just continue. Today we are going to talk about a new start of the channel, and it's something that I've wanted to do for a while for the channel itself, and it's a type of segment for people like me who are on a budget, and it's pretty much gaming budget style, or budget gaming. That's what I want to call this, pretty much this part of the video, part of the channel. And the first game that's going to be on the channel is the Callisto Protocol.
This whole prison's infected.
Can't keep running from what you've done.
Now let's go finish this.
$60 game like everyone else, and I didn't pick it up immediately, obviously, because I am not wealthy, and that's the point of the whole channel, pretty much. Grabbing games during specials, really good specials, and reviewing them, obviously with a little bit of bias. I always say that. With my Dying Light review, with my Callisto Protocol review, is going to be the same. And when I eventually review Far Cry 6, we're going to have budget gaming, and we're going to have retro game reviews, which are games that I love myself, that I believe are to be considered classics. But this is the new start of the channel, the Callisto Protocol. And yes, I'm still playing on the PS4.
Why are you laughing for? What, Chris? Why are you laughing for? Why are you laughing for? I'm being serious. I'm being serious. No.
Callisto Protocol, or Callisto, which is what I kept yelling every time I got any Callisto credits during the game, which is the currency that you get during combat and gameplay. The Callisto Protocol pretty much is a survival horror game set in a dead moon off Jupiter's orbit, I believe. And you play as Jacob. You are a pilot, and pretty much you crash into the moon. And the moon has a prison base where they send the worst of the worst criminals. And you're just making a routine drop. Your ship crashes there, and you get pretty much captured by the prison guards, and you're turned into an inmate. That's the beginning of the game. Immediately, the game does not waste any time to start. You pretty much bare bones. This game is, I got exactly what I expected. And for $15, again, I'm biased, the game itself was definitely worth the price. I want to talk about the pros, and then I'm going to talk about the cons really quick. Pros: about 8 to 9 different enemies in the game. Each enemy has a different variation or mutation that they can go ahead and proceed to once you start fighting them. You have stalkers, which can't see you. You have bloaters, which are tougher to fight. You have the prison guards themselves, who have riot gear and are harder to fight. You have the normal slug and zombies, and you have about a few other variations of slug-like worms and like hatchlings that come out and fucking eat you. You have a couple of boss battles that we're going to talk about near the end, because this video is going to have spoilers, because I have to talk about it. It's been out for 7 months. As a whole, I thought it was great. I thought it was, honestly, I think that the first 5 hours of this game are almost a 9.5 out of 10. From the moment you get to the prison, right, and you have those first few chapters, and then you get to, you get your exosuit, you go outside, you meet Elias, then you meet Danny, which is the Fukuhara character, and you get your exosuit, you reach the outside of the prison. Those first 5 to 6 hours, magnifico.
Let's go, boy! Yeah!
The ambiance, the atmosphere, the enemies, the sound design, the music, the acting, the voice acting, everything was fucking top notch. And when you fight in games, when you have fighting mechanics in the game, the most important thing about the fucking mechanics is the impact. Okay? I got that from Ranton. Your first hit. So when you hit somebody with a fucking crowbar or a baton, you feel that shit on your fucking controller. You feel that shakiness. Yeah, you feel that, and it's great. And it's all about the impact. Motion-wise, it's pretty simple. You either dodge left or right, and then you hit, or you have a variation of 5 weapons. You have a pistol shotgun, a normal pistol, which can fire fire bullets or not. You have a faster revolver. You have a shotgun, and you have an assault rifle near the end of the game. So, and as a melee weapon, which is your primary weapon, you have the baton. It's pretty bare bones. It's a pretty linear experience, but there are little moments in the game when you know the goal is this way through this door, but there might be a crack on the wall, or there might be a door that's shifting, or you see fog in the area further to the right, and you're like, what the fuck is over there? And you go and you explore, and I love that you have those options, those hidden rooms that you can go into and find some loot, or find some clues, or find more enemies, obviously. And even though it's a linear experience, a lot of people were saying that it was just a bunch of corridors, and bro, you're in a prison, alright? You're in a prison. It's not gonna have every single variation of budget. Definitely went into the graphics. Definitely went into the sound design, the acting, the voice acting, everything visually in the game is up there. The combat is repetitive. It did get very repetitive. Now let's start with the cons, the baddies. Like I said, once you get to the colony, that's when you really start feeling like the game is dragging on just a tad, because you're always getting separated from your buddies. You're always in an area where you have to be very quiet, and there's not a lot of engaging moments. You just have to. There's like 6 enemies, and they're all going in a circle. The blind guys, and you can just shake them, shake them, shake them. Go to the next one, shake them, and then run on through. And it just makes the game not only boring, because there's 6 of them. So if you take them on, you're gonna waste all your ammo, or you're gonna get deadered. So you have to go and shake them, shake them. So it gets boring after like the 5th time that you have to do that. Once you're out of that colony section, and you're back again. And the colony section that I'm talking about is right when you turn these little apartments that are falling down, and you have to manage your way through. Before that, it was bearable, because that whole section was like the game saying, okay, this is another part of the game, we want you to be as stealthy as possible, but obviously you have the option to run through if you want to. But those apartments, man, I was really starting to stagger and get mad. That's the first negative. The second negative that I want to talk about is a bug that happened to me, and I accept bugs in games, but there was this one bug. My reaction on stream, because my game crashed, my stream ended, right? And when I booted back up to keep streaming, my save file was gone.
Motherfucking titty sucking 2-ball bitch.
Just fucking gone.
Are you serious? Are you serious right now, game? I did this!
No, this can't be.
God. Are you serious? Okay, game. No.
And I was so mad. I was so pissed. Because these things do happen. But when I went back to the last save file, it took off almost 2 hours of content. And I was like,
Oh no, this can't be.
Because it was like, dude, what? I get it if I lost 20 minutes, even 30 minutes if you want to push it. I was ready to push through that because it was fun. But 2 hours? after I upgraded my weapons and did so much stuff and went through so many rooms, I had to do all that again. Thankfully, after a few minutes of searching, I was able to find the goddamn save file, but for some reason, I couldn't load it up in the start menu. When I put continue, it would throw me to the wrong one. And when I finally found it, it was when I was already in the game, but in the wrong save. So I was like, what the fuck, man? So I was saving it. I was so worried that I would lose the save file again that I was saving it every like half an hour, which is bad. Because if you have an autosave feature, it should work perfectly, game. And that got me really angry. And the third thing that I want to talk about, it has at least 7 to 9 different enemies throughout the entire game, maybe even 10. And some of those enemies have variations. They can mutate. I mean, most of them can. But, however, the worst thing about this game, the thing that I could definitely never excuse, even though I think it's worth the $15, even though I don't think I even wasted my money or my time because I ended up really, really enjoying it, there is about 6 boss battles in the game. 2 of the last ones are with the same enemy, except that he mutates, kind of like Resident Evil does. However, 4 of those boss battles, the first 4 actual boss battles, are the same boss 4 times in a row in less than 3 hours. You fight the same boss 4 times. The same design, the same moveset, the same everything. It's the same exact boss, except in different parts of the map. The first time it happens, and the boss that I'm talking about is this one. It's a cool looking boss, and the first time that you do it, you're like in a weird trans station, and it's pretty cool, and you're going 135,000 miles per hour through a cave, and you fight a little bit of enemies, and then it's set up, and then you see the boss come through, and then you're like, whoa, boss fight, let's go. Boom, 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 died a few times. Cool. Adrenaline rushing, everything fast, camera shake, bam, bam, bam. Awesome boss fight. Loved it, man. Loved it. Then you see that guy again in the colony in the middle of all the apartments, and you're like, what the fuck? Okay. Not as intense, not as fun, not as cool, because you're just standing in the middle of a field. All you got is like these little cubes, and then you fight him again, and then you wake up your friend, and then you leave. Okay. Forgettable. Forget about that boss fight. Then you go into a room that has a bunch of pillars, and then you look in the corner through these pillars, and you see a big monster, and you're like, whoa, another boss. The same boss again.
What the?
This time he's just in a different room. Same moveset, same design, same everything. And then you're like, at this point, that's inexcusable. I cannot defend this at all. That is lazy. That is stupid. And it's just stupid, game. 3 times. And then, right before you meet up with Dr. Muller, yep, you're right, same boss again. The same freaking boss again. The same moveset, same design, same everything. Except that you're in a different room. It's a little bigger. You're like in a clinic. That's it. 4 times in less than 3 hours, the same boss 4 times. So there's 6 boss battles. 4 of them are the same. The only good one is the first. Then you have the Mr. X ripoff showdown, which is fairly easy, even though I died a bunch of times on it, because I couldn't block instead of weave. But that's my fault. And then you have the cool final Resident Evil type battle with the big evil humanoid alien, whatever. I can't defend that game. I cannot defend it at all. And immediately it was losing points. It was like the first 5 hours amazing. You get to the colony, awesome. Cave system, all cool. You get to the apartment, and then you leave the apartments. You get back to like the creepy corridors, the fog. Have the same goddamn boss fight again. And then you just go straight down again. And then you have the same boss again in a different room. And then you go down another point.
Like, I'm about to box you.
The story-wise is...
What's the fucking story here, bro?
interesting enough where you don't keep going. It does get confusing because you do forget your goal. So you have to be checking the little visor. What's the goal? Oh, go to the shoe. Oh, go find this. Oh.
Bam, 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 bam. You walk around and I'm like...
Because in every horror game ever, the story is go, get out. We're not going to try to sugarcoat it, but the goals in between getting out, the story within the mystery of how it happened, I was pretty much calling all of it before it happened. And pretty much everything went as I expected. So the story itself, it was entertaining enough because of the voice acting and all that. And the main character, Jacob, I did like him a lot. He's relatable, and he would do little quips and say things that were fun. The only thing about this game that I would enjoy more if it was more, all those 4 boss battles, just change the design and make him go berserker. The last time you see the same 4th boss, instead of ripping his right side, he rips the other side off. And that 4th time, instead of him doing the fast jabs, he would do berserker type movements, really heavy attacks. So that was the only variation. But the game would have been a 9 for me, a 9.5 even, if they changed the attacks of the 4 bosses and they changed the look of them, their design. Because I could deal with the repetitive gameplay, and I could even excuse the save bug, even though it pissed me off so much, because I found it again and I could keep playing, and I didn't lose the goddamn content. But 4 bosses looking exactly the same in a row, I can't excuse that. I don't think nobody can excuse that. Nobody. No one. A 7. I was going to give it a 7. But I can tell that Striking Distance and Crafton were really trying to go back to the roots of a simple, straight horror, single-player, linear game. And I'm going to give it a 7.5. It could be a 9. It had the potential to be a 9 if the bosses, the 4 bosses that you fight that are not Ferris would be different and would have different movements, and if the colony section was just a bit shorter, because that's when the game was dragging on, and it was at its least interesting when you were there in the apartments. Could have been even a 9.5. Different designs, interactive cutscenes, and different designs and interactive cutscenes, and had the colony part a little shorter. But if I would have bought it at $60, it would have been a 7. 7, a plain 7. But since I got it for only $15, I might ended up with an 8. I think it deserves an 8 because the repetitive gameplay, I could excuse that at the end of the day because it's part of the game. They're giving you more content even though it's repetitive. It did get a bit boring in that section, and I just wanted to get through it to continue with the interesting parts of the game. But that's it. That's the Callisto Protocol. Would I recommend it? Yes, because of the price. It's pretty cheap. Don't buy it at $40. Don't buy it at $50. Don't buy it at that price.
Alright, you should probably shut the fuck up before I eat your ass.
And I'm sorry to say that. Just wait for a special. Wait for it to be $25. Wait for it to be $30. 30 is enough. 30 is right there on that mark. The ending of the game, even though the story wrapped up, it left it open enough where they could make a DLC or continue a sequel. Even though it ended, it felt complete. But still has enough space to continue. Be ready for more reviews coming soon on my retro reviews and budget reviews. Far Cry 6 is coming to the next budget review since I only got it for $12. And more retro reviews from my Xbox 360, my PS3, even the N64 is going to get a little love. Maybe even the Wii might get a little love. Who knows what reviews I'm going to do whatever I want, man. So that'll be all for today. I'll see you in the next one.
And so do I. Say goodbye.